You're 23 years old. You glance at your bank account and see 91240. Your friends are already planning another weekend of partying that would drain about €180. Your old car keeps making unsettling noises. You're still living with your parents, and just earlier, you saw someone your age on Instagram, an influencer posing confidently beside a Porsche. For days, one question won't leave your mind. Is it actually possible to become a millionaire before 30 without selling your soul, scamming anyone, or relying on pure luck? 1. The start of the shift. You begin digging online, videos, articles, podcasts, and one idea keeps resurfacing, again and again. Compound interest. One late evening, you sit down with your laptop and start running the numbers. You open a compound interest calculator and start experimenting. If you invest €550 every month starting at age 23 with an 8% annual return, you might reach $1 million around age 56. 56 years old. That feels painfully far away. So you adjust the input. Maybe €800 every month instead. Now the million shows up closer to age 49. Still not exactly fast. And with your €1,400 monthly income, there's no way you could stretch much beyond that anyway. That's when it hits you. Investing alone won't make you rich quickly. You need something more. Much more. You keep searching, opening YouTube again and typing how to make money. A flood of options appears. Some interesting, others almost suspiciously perfect. Dropshipping, trading, online courses, e-commerce. After hours at your desk, you've got about 4 hours gone, 13 browser tabs open, an Excel sheet full of scattered ideas, and your head feels like it's about to overload. Then, in the middle of all that noise, one video stops you cold. Stop chasing the perfect business model, find a real problem people are willing to pay for, and solve it. Simple. Almost too simple. You start thinking harder. What problems actually exist? What would people pay to fix? You write ideas down, cross them out, add new ones, but nothing feels right. Instead of getting clarity, you feel like you're drifting further away from anything solid. 2. The first steps. Another motivational video pops up, the kind the algorithm always feeds you. But this one hits differently. Something about it sticks, almost uncomfortably, because you recognize yourself in it. You realize you can't just keep thinking. You have to start acting. So you decide that even without a business, you can still take one step right now. Investing. You start researching options, comparing ideas, reading about index funds and long-term compounding, letting time do the heavy lifting. It doesn't all make perfect sense at first, but the concept is convincing enough to push you forward. You open your investing app and set up an automatic transfer, €800 on the first day of every month into an index investment account. The transfer vanishes from your account almost instantly, like it was never there. With a monthly income of €1,400, that decision hits hard. More than half your paycheck gone in one move. You're left navigating life on roughly €550 for everything else. Your finger hovers for a second. Then you confirm before doubt can talk you out of it. Done. Your friends don't hold back. They think you've lost the plot. You're young. Enjoy it now. What's the point of money if you can't spend it? They insist. You don't argue, you just smile, quietly sticking to what you've already set in motion. A few weeks pass. During a family lunch, someone casually mentions a tiny everyday inconvenience, something so minor it would normally vanish from memory within minutes. But it doesn't vanish for you. It sticks. It clicks. You think, I could solve that. And if I can solve it, there are probably people out there willing to pay for it. That night, the idea won't leave you alone. You open freelance platforms and start building a profile. It takes longer than expected, not because it's complicated, but because you're unsure how to define what you actually offer. Then comes pricing. Too low and you look desperate. Too high and nobody will trust you. You go back and forth until you finally pick a number. No confidence, just a decision. You publish it. Then you wait. 3. This is the moment that matters. 1 week passes. Nothing. You keep checking your profile again and again, almost obsessively. Small edits here. A rewritten line there. A different photo. You refresh it like something might change if you look often enough. Another 2 weeks go by. Still nothing. Doubt starts creeping in. Maybe this wasn't a real opportunity. Maybe your friends were right. Maybe freelancing only works for other people. Maybe the problem you saw wasn't even a real problem at all. And then, finally, the first message arrives. It's a small job. The pay isn't impressive, but it's real. Someone is actually willing to give you money for your work. You put everything into it anyway. You finish ahead of schedule and ask for feedback immediately. When the review comes in, it's simple, even understated, but it changes everything. You read it over and over, not because it's long, but because it proves something important. Someone in the real world paid you for a solution you created. The idea wasn't imaginary. The problem wasn't fake. It worked. Then another client appears, and another. You start working outside your regular job. Evenings, late nights, weekends. At first, the income barely matters, but something else is building quietly underneath it all: reputation. Each review attracts the next client. Each client gives you more confidence, and slowly, you raise your prices. The higher you go, the better the clients become. The system begins to feed itself. 4. The next level. You're 24 years old now, with €9,325 invested. Between your job and freelance work, your monthly income rises to €1,700. That's enough to unlock the next move. You increase your automatic investment, first from €750, then to €1,150 a month. It still hurts when it leaves your account, but it feels different now. It's not only your salary funding it anymore, it's also the value you're building outside of it. Secondly, you stop directly exchanging your own time for every single task. Instead, you bring in another freelancer to help you handle the workload. You pay them less than what the client pays you, and you keep the difference as profit. At first, managing someone else feels uncomfortable. You're not quite their boss, but you're no longer just a teammate either. Mistakes happen early on. You end up double-checking far more work than expected. Some deliverables come back below standard, forcing you to apologize to clients and redo parts yourself. It's messy in the beginning, but over time, you learn the rhythm, and gradually the system starts running with less friction. With the freed-up hours, you build a simple website. It's rough around the edges, nothing impressive, but it does the job. You also set up profiles across several social platforms and begin posting about your services. The first posts barely register, just a handful of views, likely mostly your own. It's discouraging for a moment, but you keep going anyway. 5. The point of no return. At 25, everything starts to shift. You've now accumulated €24,370 in investments, and your combined monthly income reaches €2,600. Clients keep coming in without pause. Your website slowly starts appearing in search results. Social media content begins to grow a small but steady audience, people who eventually turn into customers or refer others. You raise your prices again, and surprisingly, demand doesn't drop. Then comes the decision you've been postponing for months because it feels intimidating. You officially create a real company, a limited structure. You hire 2 employees on fixed monthly salaries. At that moment, you're no longer just a freelancer with occasional help. You're operating something that resembles a real business. Soon after, you make the choice that has weighed on you the most. You leave your job. It isn't impulsive. You've gone through the numbers repeatedly over several weeks, and they clearly show it's viable. The hours you spend working for someone else in exchange for a fixed paycheck could generate far more value if reinvested into your own venture. Still, you continue living with your parents, and your personal budget remains tight at just €550 per month, while everything else is funneled into the business or investments. At this stage, you're putting €1,700 every month into an index fund. 6. The pull of temptation. Now at 26, you've been on this path for 3 years. Your total invested capital has climbed to €88,460. Yet your personal lifestyle hasn't changed much. You still live on €550 a month, while your friends start traveling to Thailand, buying motorcycles, and wearing expensive brands. A strange feeling begins to creep in. You wonder if you're being overly frugal, if you're missing out on your youth. Nights out with friends become more awkward. When they order a 5th round of drinks at €12 each, you choose water instead. Some of them look at you oddly. One jokes, "Are things really that bad for you financially?" You just smile without answering. They have no idea that your net worth already exceeds most of theirs combined. The urge to tell them everything is almost overwhelming. To prove you're not struggling. To loosen the grip and spend just a bit so you fit in again. But you hold it back tightly. A millionaire doesn't chase approval. You keep repeating the same line in your head like a rule carved in stone. Live lean today so you can live wealthy for the rest of your life. Meanwhile, your business is exploding. Clients don't trickle in anymore. They arrive in waves. There's a waiting list now, and your pricing keeps climbing higher. You start building a team around you, hiring faster than ever. Month-end spreadsheets begin to look surreal, almost fictional. Your company is generating numbers you once only dreamed about. Personally, after expenses, salaries, and taxes, you're clearing over 20,000 euro every single month. 20,000, month after month. And yet, your reality hasn't shifted in the way people would expect. You still live with your parents. You still drive the same old car that rattles and complains every time you turn the key. From the outside, it would look absurd. Sometimes, if you're honest, it even feels absurd from the inside. There are nights where you open your banking app and just stare. You realize you could replace the car tomorrow and it wouldn't even matter financially. You could move into a comfortable apartment on your own and life would still be stable. You could start saying yes to every weekend plan your friends throw at you and nothing would collapse. But you don't, because the plan is crystal clear. You know the exact target you're building toward. You know when you're allowed to ease up. And you know what discipline demands right now. So you stay the course. 7. The moment it finally happens. You're 29 years old, holding your phone, and for a second, your mind refuses to accept what you're seeing. 1,194,856 euros. You read it once, then again, and again, just to be sure it isn't a mistake. Your thoughts drift back to the 23-year-old version of you. The one who once sat down with a calculator and mapped out compound growth, realizing that reaching $1 million might take until around age 56. Yet here you are. It took 6 years, not decades. You've become a millionaire before turning 30. Your business is now consistently producing more than 30,000 euro per month. The team is solid, the systems actually work, and for months you've been searching for the right person to take over operations. Someone capable. Someone you can trust to run it like their own. Eventually, you find them. You make the offer. They accept. And just like that, for the first time in 6 years, your time becomes entirely yours again. No fixed schedule, no obligations you didn't choose, no messages you're forced to answer. There's no boss above you anymore, not even the internal one you've been answering to for years. That role, too, has finally been handed off. You start dropping by the office whenever it actually fits your mood, sometimes twice in a week, other times you disappear for days. Nothing breaks. The system keeps running smoothly, almost on autopilot, as if your presence is no longer the critical piece holding it together. That single million you invested has quietly rewritten your entire reality. Money stops being something you think about. It simply exists in abundance now. No more background anxiety. No more constant mental calculations about whether things will stretch far enough. In theory, you could walk away from everything today, never work again, live entirely from returns, dividends, and the slow, steady power of compounding doing its work, even while you sleep. And although you probably won't choose that path, the option itself changes how you see everything. Still, you decide to keep contributing around 4,800 euro every month into investments. The rest you allow yourself to enjoy, because you've earned that breathing room. Even in the unlikely case the business hit a wall tomorrow, what's already accumulated would comfortably sustain you for the rest of your life. Out of pure curiosity, you run the numbers again. If that monthly investing continues until you turn 57, the projection shows roughly 1,620,000 euro. The moment the figure appears, a laugh escapes you, not from greed, but from how surreal it all feels. What once seemed like reaching $1 million was almost unimaginable. Now even numbers far beyond that feel strangely reachable, almost casual. The scale has shifted completely. You lean back, look away from the screen, and drop back into the present moment. You're no longer surviving on 620 euro a month. Now each month brings in tens of thousands instead of scraping by. And suddenly, your mind starts wandering. A long trip you've postponed for years, maybe it's finally time, without checking flight prices first. Moving into a place that actually feels like yours, chosen for comfort instead of budget constraints. Taking your parents out to a proper restaurant and paying without hesitation. Buying your mother something she's wanted for years but never allows herself. Saying yes to plans without opening a calculator in your head first. Because real luxury was never about objects. It was about removing the constant mental weight of calculation. No longer having to choose between desire and affordability. That's what those 6 years of discipline ultimately created. Freedom in its purest form. And now, at just 29, with decades still ahead of you, that freedom is fully yours. If you enjoyed this journey, share what goals you're aiming for in the coming years. Let's inspire each other. Thanks for watching. Really. And if you don't want to miss what comes next, stay tuned, because this is only the beginning.